Hello, how you guys doing? Also a ping owl right out of the gate. I'm gonna be working on some stuff. Let me go ahead and show you what I got. This camera angle is bad and I cannot figure out how to make it better. But I've got this rhino I'm working on, right? And it's not done, but I want it to be put together and spray painted by tomorrow. Which is gonna be a task. Plot9, thank you for the 7 months of support. So basically, I'm just gonna be like hobbying on this. It's pretty much done. Like, I'm leaving the top off for now. How do I get the camera angle better? I don't think bringing it down would help. Kinda does. Yeah, it's all right. So, yeah, I mean, it's like mostly together. We got a couple things that we can put in there. Well, that's not super necessary. There's also a couple of spots where exhaust ports go. So I need to do that. And then, where can I find this chill song that's being played? It's so chill, I love it. I haven't released it anywhere. So right now, nowhere. I should probably like put it together somewhere so that way people can like buy it on Bandcamp or something. There's also like a little like footsteppy here. I didn't articulate these doors because like they just don't seem like it's worth it, but this door opens slowly. And then it's got like little details back in there of like whatever all that crap is. Oh, I haven't heard anything about Bandcamp being bad. What's going on with Bandcamp? This is just... Alright, well, have a good tattoo session, man. What you getting? Rev, no way you're gonna paint inside? I am absolutely gonna paint inside. That's why I'm leaving the top off. Oh, it got sold to Epic? Okay, yeah, that would be the problem. Because I've always had good experiences with it. Like, I think we could probably get this thing out of the way. Here. Should probably put the knife down. They just sold it. So it was previously owned by Epic. Yeah, there's not much left to do with this. Yeah, the old company was great because it was like they would just every now and then go, "Hey, we're waiving our cut again." Like especially during the COVID stuff. They constantly were like, yeah, we're not going to take your money. We know you need it right now. And that's great. So as far as I can tell, I think that these little like grooves here, that's what these are for. So I was playing some Dark Tide earlier. It's like still very mid. It's like not a bad game. I enjoy it. It's just really, really hard for me to tell anyone that it's worth it. Like, this is where it should have been to begin with, and I don't think we're going to see another... Is it worth it for the 25? I mean, it's Left 4 Dead with a character stuff and levels. So do you like Left 4 Dead, like, you know, horde shooter kind of things? Because you basically every mission has like 2 things you have to like do. Some little button pushing thing, what have you. And while that's happening, you gotta shoot and you know, take care of the guy who's doing the button press thing or whatever. So it's and like again, I don't really feel like you need to understand Warhammer lore, though it does help because you can go, oh, that's a such and such, like, but you'll figure out what a such and such is. Like, do you know what a plasma gun does right off the top of your head? You assume that it shoots bullets or shoots somehow, and it shoots plasma. But like, what does that functionally look like? Is that a high rate of fire, low rate of fire? That kind of stuff, like you'll figure it out. So where does this guy go? Well, let's just look at the instructions. So the instructions say, looks like it goes right below the door. Yeah, it's those two notches there. Like so. Dry fit it just to make sure. Okay. Something's going on where it doesn't want to go in all the way, and I think it's because some glue went in there. From when I glued the door on. You could not. There's like detail on the inside, right? So if I had left these doors where they could open, which there's not like a hinge point like this one, and also I broke one of the hinges on this. I don't know if you can see it, but over on this side, the little bar that makes this do this broke. And I don't know how to fix that, so I'm just gonna not. I might put a rod in eventually, but I want to use this. So my local game store has a narrative league going, right? We're doing Crusade, and so we're increasing the points cap, and that means I can bring a new thing. And I think a Rhino would be really good, because a lot of my guys are really good once they get to combat, but not very good until they do, right? And once they do, then like they murder everything, right? But they need to be able to get there. So the Rhino will ensure that they get there. And then they can cause some damage. They can do some stuff, right? I mean, I've been enjoying Dark Tide, but I don't know as if I can recommend it. Just because it is like, I don't know. Have I looked at the Space Marine Codex? I mean, no. I'll run into some Space Marines eventually, I'm sure, and I'll hear about it. But I know Oath of Moment got nerfed, and I know that the Infernus thing looks really spicy right now. And I've got friends who play Salamanders in Crusade, so I assume that's what I need to worry about. This is, I finished everything off of this. I mean, this is a really easy kit. I built most of this while just high as a goddamn kite on CBD. It's legal here, Twitch, don't worry. And YouTube, don't worry about it. It's just like drinking alcohol. You go down to the liquor store and you get some. But yeah, last batch that I bought was not good. It was very weak. The package says take half of one, right? And you know, that's true like on your first time and stuff, but like I'm a big dude and it takes forever to hit. But I'm a big dude. I'm 6'3" and like 180, 190 pounds, somewhere in that region, right? So I usually take like one, you know? Unless if I want to get real messed up, in which case I'll take two. But this last batch we got, like I was taking like 3 or 4 and barely feeling it, you know? So I got some new ones yesterday, and I thought, hey, I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, this will be fine. I'll just take 2 because it's weak shit. This batch, not weak shit. This batch hit like a freight train. And I was absolutely gone from this planet. Like, fucking obliterated last night. So I'm a little hungover this morning. I am most mornings. Well, for the longest time, every one that I had, I mean, I bought 2 packages, and it's like this, like, creamsicle flavor. Not the usual flavor we get, but I was like, I'll try something different, you know? It's alright. It tastes like, more like peach jam than anything else. No dankness. I probably just cut my thumb. Oh well, I don't feel it yet. And man, like, I was gone last night. Tilda was trying to tell me something, and I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. And I told her straight up, I'm like, I love you a lot. I really want to listen to your story. I just don't understand what you're saying anymore. Because I'm not on that wavelength anymore. Like, I am somewhere else. She was like, it's okay, don't worry. But I just wanted, because, like, you know, it's important to listen to your wife. But it's also, yeah, she was saying stuff, and, like, I conceived of the fact that she was speaking, but not what she was speaking about or who she was talking to, despite the fact that I was the only one in the room. I was just like, man, whoever she's talking to ought to say something, because, like, it sounds like whatever she's saying is really important. And I'm like, oh, she's talking to me, man. Like, I was just like, oh, crap. Because I wasn't paying attention at all at that point. Also, I accidentally knocked the side I just glued on off as well. But yeah, anyway, with the crusade, we're doing it that, like, if you win, you get your painted points as well. And I just think it looks tacky to come to an event with a an unbuilt guy, right? Hey Plum, how you doing? Isn't getting high off of CBD a placebo? No. No, they don't. That is not a placebo at all. Because it still has some amount of THC in it. All right, so then we've got 3 vent pipes that are labeled 11. Not in my experience. Yeah, I mean, I'm still feeling fuzzy today, man. How's the good old Shadow Legion? AKA the black can of spray paint. And people paint some just horrendous stuff, man. Sometimes I get real bad anxiety. And I think, hey, like, while I'm streaming, I'm like, I could take some while I'm live. And I'm like, no one is going to want to watch me try and do anything. Some people can paint awesome stuff. I like to think I'm one of those people. I'm not like a pro painter, but we ought to look at some pro painted stuff that's on eBay, because holy crap, it is not. I don't think I'm gonna bolt the guns on yet. I'll probably get the dozer on and get this. Me and Mike's schedules have just been, like, out of whack for the last little bit. I imagine once he comes back from Vegas, we can do it. By the way, not gonna be streaming some of not gonna be streaming some next week. Just that way, whenever Mike goes live, he can get all of the attention. Because I know that this is not a cheap trip for him. Having an IRL setup is not cheap. You know, doing all that stuff is not cheap. So it's like, yeah, I love the guy. I want him to do well. I want, you know, to me, that's what I feel like streamers should do for each other is like, I don't know, take care of each other to some degree. Wait. Okay, so these are 11, right? There's also 12. I feel like this is a GW moment. It's called worker solidarity, yeah. Like, if... Okay, yeah. Oh, I see. B12 plus B11 equals part 3C. And 3E. Okay. Fair enough. I think I need to do this, and then I need to, yeah, I'm really proud of how far Mike's come. And I'm really excited for him, you know? I think that there's too much competitiveness between streamers in general, and people treat each other as, like, threats, which is just insane. You know? Like, but in a bit here, I want to work on the, I want to work on the emotes some. Should probably get a new pair of things. I would like to do an IRL stream with him. I just can't make it out to Vegas. I can't do big expensive trips like that right now. We're gonna eventually move, and when we do, very much like to be able to have the money to just bounce. Such a weird little detail, this like light thing. I think it's these lights are the last bit on this sprue. Okay, cool. Yeah, these lights are the last thing on this sprue, so I wouldn't mind giving Mike a tour of Austin. I probably should start doing some workout stuff just that way I can walk that, you know? Okay. I don't see anything else on this sprue, so we can get rid of it. I'm not saving sprues anymore. And then we got this whole sheet, which is mostly just weapons and stuff. But we don't really need that right now. Take Mike to the gun range? I don't think I've ever been to a gun range. You know? Get some brisket? Oh yeah. We're definitely getting some barbecue. When Ima came down, I made sure that she went and got some barbecue from... We went to Rudy's. I know a lot of people would prefer that place downtown. You know, the one, the place that always sells out real fast, but like, it was also like, when she was able to meet up with me, it was like real late in the day. And it's like, we're not even gonna try that. I think Rudy's is pretty okay barbecue. I don't know what y'all think. Or how many of y'all are there in the Austin area. But there's this one place that like you have to show up first thing in the morning to get food. because they sell out that fast. I think they're open like 2 days a week. Which is just like, holy crap. I think Mike can handle being called y'all. I've been calling him, well, sometimes I've said y'all to him. But I mean, Austin's a huge techie town. You don't hear ain't much, unless if you're actively trying to sound like a hick. You know? Y'all is used because there is no second person plural in English, which is common in every other language. I'm not going to go on the y'all train again. I mean, there's you, but you is also the singular. Use? How's use better? You. Because, like, y'all is just, like, combining you all. You all going somewhere after this? You all like that? It's a contraction, like can't. It sounds weird when you say it out the whole way. So these are just little, like, I don't really know why they did this. Like, why did they do it where it's like that? I don't know. All right, where are the little lights? One is B23, one's B24, and the only difference is one is on the inside, and you want the light, the big light on the inside. I'm from the Northeast, and I love y'all. Well, I love y'all, too. I don't think that's what you meant, but, you know. This is actually a normal build. It is kind of going to be a kit bash as well, which is really funny. But that'll probably come later. So I'm thinking I could just get some plasticard, which is like pieces of flat plastic, right? They've got corrugated kinds, so that way you can make it look like corrugated metal. And I want to like build this guy out like a normal rhino, right? Paint it up like the right colors from our word bearers, so like red and silver. And then I want to have also, this is, I don't know what this is here, but there's like, this happens. See that? I don't know what that is. But anyway, if I put like probably like a sprue cage on top of this with some plasticard attached to the sprues, I can paint that all blue, and then it can be a truck for my Death Skulls, which I can only be playing one army the other at a time, so it'll be fine. I think once I finally do put this in, I can glue that on, so that way it'll connect up a little better. And I'm not sure if it's worth trying to green stuff the seams. I might in a couple places, like back here. That seam sucks dick. But I'm gonna get done building the rest of it, and then we can try and shove some green stuff in, and then we can spray it. Okay, so the light goes towards the inside. But I'm ready for the weekend. I don't know about y'all. It's been a stressful week. And I think a little bit of downtime is needed for pretty much everyone. This is it was a rough week, yeah? I mean, month, year, decade, true. It's been a rough life as well, but like we're here, we're still around, so you should do a mini giveaway or something. Like an orc boy with a little gas mask. The only official gas mask I can think of is the one from the Commandos kit, the new one. Might be able to actually fix this using the glue here. A creek head is gonna be too small. Like their heads are a lot smaller. They're closer to like Space Marine helmet size. If you glue a sprue, does it make it glue? There is sprue goo that exists. That's just a combination of like what, acetone and sprue, and it just sort of melts the plastic and then it evaporates, and then all you're left with is just plastic. And so people will chemically melt their sprues to do that. That's not gonna work. Okay. I love your mouse pad. Thanks. I need to get a new one. It's a little dirty. Got that a few years ago. But after we get done with this, we could do some art. We could watch some stuff. We could play some video games. I don't know what your vibe is. I feel like I need to finish those emotes. Is it common to shave down the parts? Yeah. So, yeah, okay, cool. Right here. You see that line? Well, if it'll focus, you might. Focus? Focus? Focus. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see it. Let me just put my thumb over it and then refocus. All right, well, you see there's a little line there, right? On the curve. That's a mold line. So basically when they press these kits, when they put this together, the plastic, you know, generally fills just the spots that they ask it to, but it will fill like a little bit on the sides, and that causes some issues. Yeah, that makes sense. So if you just like shave that bit off, then you don't have that, and it looks a little more real if it doesn't have the lines. So I'm just kind of like using the edge of my knife to just clear off the little bit that's there. And some of this is hidden, some of it's not. It also just helps it fit a little bit better. You do this in pretty much every model kit. GW has gotten a lot better at hiding their lines and stuff by just the way that they set up their kits. They usually, these end up being, do you have some iodine and band-aids when you accidentally make a mistake? Nope. We bleed like real men. Manly men. How do you paint? So first off, you gotta prime these because they are not primed. It's just plastic. If you try and put paint on it, it's not gonna work. So you gotta prime it. There's special primer made for miniatures. You can get the GW brand, or you can get something like Army Painter. There's a lot of options, but you probably want to go with actually mini spray, though, using like a fine spray. That works all right too. You basically just don't want something that's really chunky and is gonna like obscure all the details, because I assume that it's detailed. And then from there, you just use a small brush. Some miniature paint. I like Vallejo. I like GW. And then you just slowly paint everything. I'm gonna spray this whole guy black because I'm gonna miss spots, right, when I'm painting this. And so the spots that I miss are probably going to be in recessed details. And so if that's the case, I'd like for them to be black. Yeah, I think contrast paint is fine. I don't think it's like the be all end all. But I think it is a cool little technique, little tool that you can add to your repertoire. It's a thinner paint. Have I tried 2 thin coats yet? Not yet, no. My local LGS does sell it, so I could get it. But I have not tried it yet. Do you know if anyone's made a Little Pony, My Little Pony / Warhammer minis? Yes, 100%. I've seen it. Not in person, but on Reddit, because of course that's what you would find on Reddit. The Imperial Fist yellow contrast is really nice, even if you don't use any other. I mean, I generally don't like buying the GW stuff because it's like exorbitantly expensive for what it is. But their paint is pretty fucking good, man. Like, it's pretty solid, especially like the technical paints. It's a yellow that goes on with one coat. Do you have to put like white down behind it? So contrast paint is like very thin paint that tries to seep into the recesses, so you can put one coat over your mini and it'll seep a lot of paint into the recesses and very little on the top, which makes it appear like you've done the shading and stuff. Does Krylon paint spray? Yeah, so I've got some, I think this is Krylon. I've got tape over it so that way it doesn't like, so that way it'll shut better. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I've used this before and it's fine. But yeah, you want to go with like paint / primer, and it needs to be a fine spray. I think that like priming your mini with white just is a lot more trouble than it's worth, unless if you're doing contrast. Unless if what you're trying to get at is something that's going to be a very light color or white in the end anyway. I don't like Rust-Oleum because it's got like extra features that are not good, that just add to the chunkiness of the paint. Your minis are not going to rust. They're plastic. And I generally recommend that you want to start with whatever color, like you want to spray it whatever color you want it to be, or black, in my opinion. So like I've sprayed, what's that thing you keep lighting on fire? So this is GW's plastic glue. It's it gets stuck in the nozzle, and so you can just burn the plastic out of the nozzle by setting it on fire. This is something weird I do. I don't know if anyone else does it. But it's one of the reasons that I like the Citadel paint over the other stuff. Because other glue gets stuck in the nozzle and then it's plastic, so you can't really do anything. There should be a warning on the bottle. I think it says specifically not to do that. Caution, flammable liquid. But my paint or my glue likes to dry out on me, and miniature glue is specific because glue, depending on what kind of glue it is, depends on how it works. Plastic glue, this kind of glue, just melts the plastic and has it, when it dries, everything just kind of adheres to each other. Which is not going to work the same way as Elmer's glue. You need a separate kind of glue depending on what kind of plastic you're using. So I use this for resin, for example. This is Army Painter Super Glue. I don't mind building them. I think that building minis is my least favorite part. I like kit bashing, which is why I play orcs, and I like painting, but I don't like gluing. This part sucks. Have you tried Tamiya's Extra Thin? I have not, no. I don't think we've access to Tamiya down here. And you learn real fast when you're doing this to dry fit first before you do anything. Which is just where you try and jam the thing together the way it's supposed to be glued and just see if it even fits. Because sometimes it doesn't, and then you need to make some correction, or you just screwed up and that's not where it goes. Yeah, I mean, a podcast would be great for doing this. I do like to listen to stuff while I'm working. And I'm seeing some like sprue and stuff. Do I do anything with remote control vehicles? Warhammer is an expensive enough hobby for me. Closest thing I think I've got to that is I just got a Ring camera. My mom saw it on sale, and she's been seeing my tweets about like people randomly entering my apartment to fix things, so I guess like that was her solution. I don't know what to do with that. Like, are you gonna visit Adepticon? It's gonna be my first time going ever, and I'm going to join Golden Demon, building a Cerestrius Knight with a flamethrower. Ooh. Golden Demon's hardcore, man. For those not in the know, that's like the painting competition. So you can win like awards generally at most like tournaments for like just playing well, like you would expect, like who placed better, who won the most games. But also there's usually also one for best painter. Golden Demon is just about painting. How good of a painter are you? You know? And the stuff that wins Golden Demon is wild. Like, really hardcore stuff. And my basing, I think, is not on the right level. Like, my basing game is trash. So, you got some balls, kid. I like it. Good luck. I don't know if I'm going to Adepticon. And then some tournaments also have, like, best sportsman as well. And then there's usually, like, best general, which is kind of a combination of everything. And I'm more interested in winning, like, best general than I am winning the tournament itself. Because people get sweaty and they cheat and stuff. I would rather be a good opponent to play. And generally speaking, I am, you know? But if you fuck with me, I do start, like, really getting hardcore about rules. You know? So if you're going to try and cheat, I'm going to hold you to it, you know? Most of the time, if you move your guy and you move him, like, I don't know, couple centimeters over, whatever, man. I don't imagine I'm going to very many events that are outside the state for a while. One of the local tournaments for me was Smoking Boots. Someone who went 0-3 but were good sports, so they get free entry. That's amazing. I love that. You're just a nice guy to play with, so like you get to be in the next tournament for free. But also, like I said, there's I mean, like, we just need to get set up in Maine if that's where we're going to end up staying. And we're going to rent a place for a while until we can find some place to buy, if we can buy a house. Tilda's making a majority of the money right now for us, so she's obviously going to have to switch jobs when we move. And so I need to keep doing this streaming thing and do halfway decent at it. I think that's where we're gonna end up going. Maine is currently the place that we're thinking about. Every time I've been to like upstate New York, that area, I've been very, very happy. Like it's just so comfortable up there. Like it just feels like peaceful to go outside rather than hell. Because like this is the first week this year, I want to say, that I've been able to go outside. Because holy shit, like it has been like abysmally hot recently. It has only recently gotten down to like a manageable temperature. I don't know what the temperature is today. Usually my little thing on my computer tells me. Let me check. What's the weather today? $85 going on a 90. I don't know what that is in Celsius. What is 85 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius? 29. Around like 29, 30 degrees. So it's like you can go outside and not die right now in Texas. Like it's you aren't an idiot for going outside. Like you can stand outside and not immediately die. Which has been the case pretty much all year. I mean, I enjoyed it. I prefer it when it's closer to like 70, you know? Like that is optimal human temperature for me. Like low 70s. Not saying it's not warm, but biggest model I've made is probably my battle wagon, which is not significantly larger than this guy. It's gonna get up to 90 today. But still, I would rather walk around in 90-degree heat rather than 110. Drop my phone. All right. What is 110 degrees in Celsius? 43. So that it's closer to like 30 right now. I'm pretty okay with that. It's been closer to like 43 on up Celsius for a majority of the year. We had an unbroken streak of it being over 100 degrees for like a couple months. So 90 feels absolutely like frigid in comparison. 30, you know? I mean, yeah. But like if and global warming's still a thing. So like that's still gonna be cold. Like, you know, like it's our warm up there because that's how it works. A 100 degrees, you just, I mean, once it starts getting around 100 on up, you just try and not go outside. It's just brutal. We're still gonna have AC up there because, like, I don't like being warm. $68, yeah, 68 is fine for inside. 20 degrees Celsius. So I guess like my preferred temperature in Celsius would be like low 20s. Like that's like human temperature, you know? That's where like it's a pleasure to be around, you know? As opposed to frigidly cold or awfully hot. 70 Fahrenheit is ideal. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I have it best when it's -3. Where do you fucking live? Antarctica? What is that? Celsius? Yeah, -3 Celsius still seems very cold. Oh, that's about 30. Yeah, that's still freezing. That's literally, it's frozen outside, right? Like, if it gets below 32, which I don't know exactly where that is, but fairly close to -3 Celsius, that's too fucking cold. Zero Celsius equals, okay, right, because Celsius is meant to be like, where's the boiling point? Like, 0 Celsius is the freezing temperature of water, and then 100 is like boiling water, right? That's how the system is supposed to work. Why are you wearing jeans inside? They're comfortable and durable. I honestly don't think I own any other pants. We painting the inside of the thing? Yeah, we're gonna paint the inside of the thing. Yeah, I mean, honestly, no sweatpants? I don't like sweatpants. I don't like sweatpants. I hate shorts. I'm just not about shorts at all. Okay, so a lot of this is gonna get obscured. No jammies. Like, literally, the only thing that I wear for my legs is jeans and my underwear. Do I sleep in jeans? No. I just take my pants off and put them to the side. Always ready to go. I mean, it's part of that. I mean, I've slept in my jeans before, many a time. I should probably have removed this so that way I could paint it easier, but I think it'll be fine. All right, so double check in. I'm pretty sure that this goes like this, but I'm just gonna double check. Yes, okay, good. I don't know, when I wear khakis, I always feel like that green Zelda shirt khakis look, even if I'm not wearing that. And I'm trying to steer away from only just like black button-ups. Trying to like wear, I don't know, clothes that have more stuff. And so I've been getting some more shirts that have like graphic design on them. Fashion's just not my thing, man. Like it's very expensive and very trivial in my opinion. But also that's very much a dude opinion. But my wife, you know, what's my opinion on wearing tank tops? I don't like my skin showing generally. Like, I like short sleeve shirts. That's the right amount of shirt for me. Long sleeve just sucks. I don't like long sleeve. Too warm and real constricting. Tank tops kind of feel like I'm a wife beater look. Oop, still plastic on this. Tank tops make you look unhinged. Okay. Then your glue? Not a thing, but alright. I usually wear my jeans like twice a day, or excuse me, twice before I wash them. And the main reason for that is I don't go outside, so they don't really get that dirty. So I'll just wear them 2 days in a row, and then I'll switch pants. If I go out, I'll switch them, but you know, considering most of the time I'm sitting right here in this chair, I don't see a huge point. Cuts down on, like, you know, me having to wash shit. I'm sure it's good for the environment or whatever, but honestly, it does have details on the inside. Not a lot. And it's honestly going to be covered by this thing here. This is the roof. But you can paint the details. I'm going to keep this unglued for a while, just that way I can do that. Can you put a figure in it? Not really. The scale's a little fucked. Like, this is a Chaos Space Marine, right? This thing somehow carries 12. And, like, this guy's taking up a majority of the room inside. So I don't really know how that's supposed to work. But rules is written, that's how it works. Tilda has insisted that she's going to be the one to name all of my minis. So she's named this one Frank the Tank. Which rover model version did you pick in the end? This is the Dimios pattern, the 30K one. It is $5 cheaper and has more detail than the original Rhino and works in both systems. So it's like, do you want to spend $50 or $55? What is Warhammer? It's like an RTS on tabletop. Does the real hatch work? Sorta. Yeah. So yeah, if you like RTSs, like it's basically that. You show up with, you know, instead of a deck that, you know, like Magic the Gathering has like a 60 card deck as your minimum, right? Instead with Warhammer, it's a, you know, points maximum. So it's 2,000 points, and the points pay for everything that goes into your army. The weapons they've got, the stuff they do, whatever, right? So like this thing is 75 points, right? And so I could spend those 5 points on this thing, or I could spend, you know, 75 points on, well, I could spend 70 points on 2 Chaos Spawn instead if I'd prefer. These are the little kit-bashed ones that I've made. It's weird freak. And it's just sort of decision making. Like, are 2 Chaos Spawn going to do more or less than a Rhino, this guy, for approximately the same cost? You know? And that's how you essentially build your list. The game is played over 5 battle rounds, where a battle round is I have a turn, you have a turn. And then there's objectives that you score based on whatever mission you're playing. Go stand here. Stop shooting, stop fighting for a second, and do nothing in this spot, and you get points. That kind of thing. How long does the average game take? Depending on your points limit, which I always play at like 2,000 points. I think we're moving up to 1,250 for the Crusade League, but 2,000 is standard. In a tournament, I want to say you have a maximum of 4 hours. But if you were playing a 4-hour game, I'd be very surprised. I think closer to 2 to 3 is more accurate. Because most of the time by like turn 3, things have kind of turned for the worse for someone. And you can probably talk the rest of the game out. You can go, man, like, I just don't see me coming back from this. Do you want to, is it all right if I concede? All right, so we can either have a hunter-killer missile, a smoke launcher, or a searchlight. The hunter-killer missile I don't think has rules in 40k. There's also a dozer blade. I can either have the dozer blade or not. Regardless of what you put on the roof, you have to put in that insert as well. Okay. Get the hunter killer. Can you get ship models? There are no boats in Warhammer. Sounds like Warhammer has a lot of lore to it. It does. It came out in like the 1980s. I want to say is when the first edition of Warhammer came out, and they've been writing lore for it on the side ever since. So there's a lot, but generally speaking, everything's a dystopian wasteland. Everything sucks, and everyone's at war, and everyone sucks. I'm not going to put the hunter killer on there because I don't want to confuse people. That's like part of what's called WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get. So if I go and I put like this dude out there, you're like, well, there you go. That's a plasma gun, right? This is a gun dude. You may not know what a plasma gun does, right? But you know he's got a gun, right? But then I've got a guy like this guy, and he's got a big ass axe and a pistol. So his shooting's not as good, but he's got some melee threat that the other guy doesn't have. And so then it would be kind of fucked up if I was like, no, they both have melee options. They both have the same weapon. It's kind of confusing. So especially with vehicles, you want to like magnetize. So where you just add little magnets and then you can switch out the weapons to whatever you want. Most people are okay with you not doing that. I just feel like it makes life easier for people. That they can just look at what you've got and they go, okay, I know what that is. And then if they run into a guy that's got a big ass weapon and they're like, I didn't know he had a weapon profile that was any good. And it's like, bruh, the fuck did you think was gonna happen? You ran into that. You know? But starting in, what, 9th edition, they started having a special rule for if your whole army is painted, you get 10 extra victory points. You just get 10 points. Out of the 100 points you can possibly make in a game of Warhammer, you get 10 points for having your army fully painted. Our narrative league is only doing it that if you win, or both armies are painted. But because I plan on winning. And honestly, it's just more fun to play against an army where you know what the fuck it is and it looks like a real army rather than like a bunch of plastic guys. you know? And it helps with cheating and that guyisms. You know, if I don't know, let's say blah 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 unit becomes very good because someone did really good in a tournament with it, and so now everyone rushes out to buy one, and they get one, and then they show up at their local game store and they've got one, but it's not painted. You know? Oh yeah, no, I just picked this up. I didn't even know it was gonna be good. I've had kind of a weird relationship with that rule. A lot of people have, where it's like, this seems vaguely discriminatory against people who, like, I don't know, are disabled and cannot paint. But our narrative league is being ran by a disabled guy. So, like, he can't lift his arm, like, really that high off the table. He's wheelchair bound. So usually has to have someone help him move his models if they're pretty far away or something. Fun guy, good guy. So no one really, like, causes a huff about it. But, you know, if he feels like he can set that limitation, I'm fine with that. Okay. So there's a difference between 5 and 4. What is the difference between 5 and 4? Okay. 1. Thank you, chat. 4 goes on one side, 5 goes on the other. That's the only difference. But yeah, we're just kind of having a chill stream right now. I kind of figure, if you guys don't mind streams like these where I'm just kind of like doing crap that I normally do, but you guys are just here for it, then I can start stream a little earlier than usual. And then I can switch into something a little bit more like what you would expect at around 1 o'clock, which it is now 1 o'clock, by the way. But I want to, like, at least get the, I want to put this together, and then I think I want to spray it, give it one good prime, and then I'll stream a thing. I haven't seen any other ridiculous stories to talk about, unfortunately. I was hoping that there'd be another, like, ARE girlfriends or blah blah blah, what have you. Well, there's not. You should do Foundry off Next Fest. I'll do Foundry. Yeah, the remote chastity cage thing has been a thing for a bit. And that's like people hacking stuff like chastity cages or like cameras or whatever has me real concerned about installing a ring in the house, you know? So we might return it, you know? Also, I don't totally trust that company. I heard that they give some of the information to, like, I don't know, FBI and crap like that. It's just like, get the fuck out of my house. Have I streamed Bolt Action. It's pretty okay. Um I would say my main issue with it is It feels like Doom if there was no level direction at all. And everything looked the same. What's the name of it? Foundry? I'm gonna at least get it installing. I mean, it looks like Satisfactory to me. Oh, it's made by Paradox. Okay. Well, published by them. And then my headphone cables are stuck. Give me a sec. There we are. I still haven't gotten Rocksmith set up where I can practice music. The only thing I really need to do for that is set up a playlist of songs that won't get me copyright claimed. That I'm actually interested in learning. Just haven't had time to do it. So, how's this supposed to go in? We're just dry fitting for now. But, and then what is this little fella for? Nothing? I did not finish Lies of P. Low-key, I'm waiting for another bounty for it. Because it's just like, yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna stream it, I might as well get paid. All right, Warhammer people, what's the correct way of doing this? These are like the hatch cover bits for them, and like right now they spin, but there's no way to make this spin. Like I have to glue this in spot, right? Okay, no way to make it spin. So I can just glue it down then. Okay, let's go ahead and glue that then. And then I'll go outside and spray paint these real quick. Won't have all the weapon options and stuff, but at least it'll be painted and assembled, which is fine. I don't know how I'm going to do like hatch covers or what I'm going to do with that. I kind of don't want the guys peeking their heads out. If that makes sense. Like it's a Pendle mounted like thing, so like they could jump up in the cupola. Is that how you pronounce that? But like that seems like hey, here I am, shoot me. You know? I could have also articulated this door here, but opted not to. All right, well there we go. I mean, that's a rhino. We obviously need to put the weapons in. And I need to glue this bit on, but I'm gonna wait to glue this bit on until I'm good with it. One really important thing to know about Warhammer as well is beep beep. So that's important. It doesn't say to do that in the rules, but you pretty much have to. You know? Yeah, take that down. But yeah, let me... I'm gonna use Citadel's black just because... Does it have airbags? Nah, you just fucking die. I'm gonna paint it Word Bearer's Red, which is kind of a blood red. So that way it matches my dudes here. Like red and silver. So... No, I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna have to go outside for a minute. Would you guys mind giving me like 2 minutes to go outside and spray paint this puppy? And then we can go do something else, because it's gonna need to dry out there as well. This box might be a little small. All right. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. BRB. Put it on an arcade? Ah, that's a good idea. Let's put on the ghost hunting stories. Make it nice and spooky for y'all. All right. Let's do... Yeah, that screen region there. Hey everybody, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? It's true. It's the point of the website. colinmullen.com. It's where I put my art, and you can buy art. I'll be right back, y'all. Look at art there. Enjoy. And you can be like, that's an art there. colinmullen.com. Yeah. So hey everybody, there are a lot of weird recording errors with this painting. I don't know what happens. The camera just recorded it in like this weirdly dark format, so I bumped up the contrast. It's a little bit noticeable. Hopefully you don't notice when it switches from when I realized it was doing whatever that is and not. It also just didn't record me signing it for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but I digress. I think there's a lot of things going on in this painting, despite the fact that I don't love it as much as some of the other paintings I've done, that I realized would be really cool if I pushed it in a different direction. And so I'm gonna experiment with that for the next couple of paintings, and you'll get to see that, and it'll be pretty cool. And yeah, that'll be good. But yeah, real quick announcement as far as Patreon goes. I do the thing where I thank people for, you know, being at $5 or more. If you're not aware, I'm going on vacation here soon, and as such, there's going to be one video that comes out while I'm gone that I won't be able to thank everyone appropriately. I'm going to just thank everyone who has paid at, you know, or said they're going to be a patron at that tier by, you know, the you know, end of the month before I leave, and then just sort of hope that works. So I apologize if I miss your donation. I will make sure I put you down in the comments on that one, but it shouldn't affect this video, so don't worry about it for now. But I digress. Anyway, you guys are probably more interested in what I'm going to talk about here today, so let's get into that. In most horror stories, you hear it from the perspective of the person who is being haunted, the person who's having to nail the door shut because there's a zombie on the other side, the person who has to deal with a cursed artifact or what have you. Very, very rarely do you hear it from the perspective of the monster themselves. And this is a special kind of story because essentially that's what it is. This is a true story, by the way. As some of you guys know, if you've watched my older videos on this channel, I used to do ghost hunting. And I feel like this is an appropriate story to tell since it's about Halloween. We had a cemetery local to our area that was more or less not used anymore and more or less just historical, but we believed it to be haunted. Now, whether or not it was or is completely irrelevant. It was where we'd bring people who, you know, wanted to join us on, you know, ghost hunts before we'd bring them to an actual, like, location. Because sometimes these locations would be 3 to 4 hours away, and you don't really want to have to drive someone home on that long of a trip. It can kind of mess up the whole night, you know, and you don't want someone freaking out the whole time because that's going to make it really hard to do anything. So it's sort of irrelevant whether or not this place was haunted or not. What's more important is that we took people there, told them it was haunted, and then culled out a few people who would otherwise have joined us and been problems on actual missions, or whatever you want to call it, jobs. But I digress. We had started to notice that someone was breaking the gravestones. Someone was leaving wax on, you know, different parts of the cemetery, leading us to believe that someone was showing up, and probably not someone who's actually experienced in these things, but doing some sort of occult stuff in the graveyard late at night. And it was seemingly on nights of, you know, the full moon or on solstices. And it just so happened that the Halloween of that year was going to be a full moon. So we figured it would be a good day to, like, you know, camp out. Now, I know some people are going to be like, why didn't you just go to the cops? Well, first off, I wasn't that kind of kid. Second off, it's really not something you can bring to the police. You know, oh, hey, while hanging out in the graveyard late at night, we noticed that someone has been messing with them. It's a little bit, you're going to be suspect number one. Let me just put it that way. So for whatever reason, we decided to take this into our own hands and just hang out. See if we could find them. See if we could catch them in the act and, you know, be, you know, I don't know. I don't know really what our plan was from there. But we were going to confront them regardless. Or at least understand who they were. So we show up and we drop ourselves off in several waves of cars, and so that way there's no car up front near the front gates of the cemetery. This is a small, overgrown cemetery that was more or less just sort of like kept in repair by, I guess, historians. I don't think anyone actually like put recent graves there. It was really bizarre, honestly. But regardless, there was a small wooded area near the back of the lot. It was a cold Halloween that year. It was somewhere in like the 30s to 40s, I want to say. Like above freezing, but pretty close to it for those of you that don't speak American and our stupid system that we use. But regardless, for a Texan, that's pretty cold. So I brought my wool coat and I brought my leather gloves, and I decided to hide into the forest area along with everyone else. We all kind of spread out so we could get different vantage points so that we could see stuff differently from each other. Part of that was just due to us being bored, because, you know, hanging out in a graveyard waiting for something to happen is kind of boring for some people, I guess. Eventually, I'm separated from everyone else, and we're texting back and forth via our flip phones because that's the era it was. And I see a car pull up. I see a car pull up into the cemetery and stop and turn its lights off, and a bunch of people get out. This, to me, seemed like this was probably the group in question. I see some of my friends move from their spots and their different hiding spots, move forward, and then I get a text that says, "Get over here." Based on the movements of the last person I saw, I figured that they had actually confronted them. There was already discussion being had over in that area, so I decided I'd go ahead and sneak up there as well. By the time I got close enough that I could see what was going on with the group that had pulled up, I noticed that none of my friends were there, and I was in plain view, probably. There's an elderly gentleman and a few teenagers who had pulled up in some sort of SUV or...
All right, I am back.
Okay. I'm back. You guys maybe want to listen to the rest of this video? I need to go back outside in a few minutes. Yeah.
All right.
Being in the position where I was, and with the lighting being as poor as it was, I sort of assumed they had seen me, but I guess they hadn't,
this is the
because when
knife
I popped
story.
out of my hiding spot to confront them, because I had assumed that they had seen me. The one of them screamed. Now, the one of them that screamed was wearing cat ears, which instantly was sort of a giveaway that they probably weren't some hardcore occultists. They were probably just some idiot kids wanting to hang out in the cemetery late at night. But regardless, they immediately started hiding behind this elderly gentleman who asked who I was, which, to be fair, was a good question. And I decided to ask him it as well because it seemed fair. That kind of led to a stalemate. It's worth remembering at this point that I had, brought my knife with me. So I was holding a knife. I was wearing
Audio
a thick
issues.
wool coat, leather
Ugh.
gloves, and I'm 6'3", 6'4", and I probably had a bad look on my face, like I was kind of upset about the situation. So it was probably fair in a cemetery to be a little bit freaked out by me. They asked me who I was, not wanting to give my name away because everything about this situation was just turning bad real fast. I just opted to say I'm the gravekeeper. And you guys need to leave. And they go, okay. And so they start backing away. And I start to feel bad because now that I've realized that these are not the people that we're looking for, I, apologize and I, move the knife to my left hand so that way I can reach my right hand out to shake the guy's hand. And I go, look, real sorry. And he goes, no, you stay there. As he backs away, pushing everyone else into the car, and they drive off without putting on their seatbelts, if I recall correctly. We all had a good laugh about that later. But, yeah. I was a weird kid. Just realizing that now. But that's the story of how, I guess I was the monster once in someone's horror story, I'm sure. But anyway, let me get into the people who have made this video possible and thank the people who supported me at the $5 tier or more.
Okay. That's the full story anyway. And then it goes into thanking people on Patreon, which is cool. I don't really actually enjoy this painting. I was going through a bit of a cubist phase, and I was trying to do that here, and it just doesn't look good. The paint quality is kind of sloppy. I'm not super about this painting. But whatever. I love that whenever I say something controversial in one of these videos that someone comes at me and they're like, where's the one that I said recently? Where is the... It was back here. Oh, here it is. So this is why are there no conservative artists? Which is like, they're just not very many. But I like this. Most of the people commenting on this video are conservatives. I think you're partially right, but a large number of caveats, like conservative artists not being honest with their art. You're right that art reflects what's inside, except that conservative people are more than just politics, as if liberal people aren't, but okay. I'm an artist and a conservative, and my art is all about nature. You wouldn't get that I'm a conservative from the art itself. I actually would. If you draw, like, if you paint really conservative, like you paint like nice things, like, nature, fields, classical architecture, that kind of stuff, it's kind of a giveaway that you're a conservative. But okay. Nostalgia. Yeah, nostalgia stuff is another sign, yes. Let's see. You wouldn't get that I'm a conservative for my artists, but it's not because I'm dishonest. It's because my art is about the beauty of nature, something a lot of people associate with leftism. Okay, although that is not correct. Sure. My art is God's creation, blah, blah, blah. It's true that more conservatives are covert, like the blacklisting is very real. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here it is. How does one do how one does art? What boundaries are you pushing? Why couldn't an artist push an artistic boundary rather than a moral one? Well, I mean, show me that, because I don't feel like that's happened. And also, like, how are you saying that your thoughts made manifest onto a canvas or into an art is not going to be involving your politics to some degree? I don't know how. What boundaries are we pushing? Why is wanting to honor the past not good art? Because I've seen that shit. Let's actually go to this video. Hey everybody, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com? And I'm just gonna scroll down a bit. Most of these comments are conservatives, by the way, or people who would just watch me normally. So like it is actually like a valid thing to be having this conversation about conservatives. Let's see. A lot of left-wing artists are just as blunt in their art and they get celebrated for it, and certainly not everyone agrees with them, but they have whole institutions on their side. What boundaries are you pushing? Why couldn't an artist choose to push a artistic boundary not rather than a moral one? Why not both? Like, I think that you should try and, you know, be technically and spiritually good. You can do both. Why must boundary pushing and change for its own sake be part of good art? Because we've already seen that shit before. You know? Like, I've seen a bazillion paintings of a field. You know? What is wanting to honor the past not good art while virtually anything new is celebrated for simply being new? Yeah, everyone fucking loves the classics, but only a handful of the classics, and we like them because they happened back in the day. Another song that just sounds like something from like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, is not gonna be, I don't know, popular? No one's gonna care. I think there's a lot of subjectivity in this assessment. No shit. I mean, shoot, man, you're the one painting a picture of a skull dude in a robe. Something that's been done a billion times. Can we talk about this painting for a second? This is a painting of a demon. And what I'm doing here is that it's supposed to be a halo, but the halo is broken, but not completely. And so what we have here is like the formation of his horns. Eventually it's going to keep breaking until all he's left with is a half circle that exists here. So this is like, that's what I'm going for with this. So like, yeah, it's a skull dude, but like this is a demon, you know? But okay. I do agree that nobody wants to fund conservative art, though your points about how the leftist institutions won't fund or display stuff they disagree with, or even stuff with people they disagree with, even if the message of the art is fine, while conservatives seem to prefer to donate to political causes. Yeah, I mean, this is like, he's refuting a lot of my points, and I don't think I'm wrong on any of them. I think that art is just speech. Social conservatives helping the homeless. Yeah, that's or in the case of social conservatives, like helping homelessness or pro-life groups. Pro-death. Let's be honest, it's not pro-life. Like the whole, like, you know, abortion thing gives me the heebie-jeebies, sure, but like I gotta suck it up and deal with the fact that that gives me heebie-jeebies, but that is not important. That sexual healthcare is healthcare and should not be limited, because it would be fucking insane if we, I don't know, politicized eye care.
so people couldn't get cured of blindness, or they couldn't, you know, get glasses without it being a fucking thing. It's just absolutely insane behavior. They help the homeless until they have drug addictions or mental illness. Yeah. A lot of these are salty conservatives, but I was honestly curious on why there were no conservatives in, you know, public spaces. This is not my most like out there painting, but I was, you know, this is also just me trying to experiment some. So if it's not super out there, I think that's fine. I was trying to go for a really painterly background, and I like the way the background came out on this one. Shaking my head, contact lenses are so political nowadays, right? Right? There's a bunch of other people who are saying that, and some of them, like, I think a majority, like, people do agree with what I'm saying here, even the centrists. This is me saying this is like the most Texan thing I've ever said. Let's read the comment first. I consider myself to be a centrist, leaning right, liberal mind, but conservative at heart. I'm pro-life, pro-guns, pro-Jesus, pro-USA, but not for the death penalty, not for banning birth control, and most definitely not for banning books. I'm an immigrant, so I'm pro-immigration, but in a legal way. I'm used to not paying, not favor paying taxes. However, Bill Maher's changed my opinion on that. I'm also against war unless if someone attacks us on our soil. I'm quite vocal about my views, so not disingenuous. I agree with you that there are conservatives that don't support culture. It's truly a shame. It saddens me that instead of STEAM, we're encouraged to do STEM. Thus totally ignoring art. However, that said, I'm grateful to liberals who entertain and publish what I create in their art and literature journals, even when they don't agree with what I have to say. As for no one wants to buy conservative art, you're welcome to go to my website. No, I'm good. And see the gallery section, sold paintings. There's definitely a market for what I do, but at a point, I don't want to keep selling for less than what they're worth. At this point, I'm more interested in exploring and communicating ideas than trying to sell. I do have faith that pendulum is shifting and the market will see conservative art more in the future. People still like to see art that is not meaningful, but at times witty and beautiful. Just like music, without beauty, life becomes unbearable for people like me. And then my reaction to that is, I appreciate this comment as it gives insight to the discussion. Thank you. For those of you that don't speak Southern, this actually makes it seem like I appreciate them. This is Southerner for go fuck yourself. Like this is not Southerner for like, you know, yeah. You should probably listen to this. Hey everybody, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? That's why I set up the website, colinmullen.com. So hey everybody, today I want to talk about something that I've noticed and just want to get y'all's take on, and really just have a discussion on this point. And I would highly encourage you guys to do the amount of research that I've done on this as well. Despite the fact that listening to a bunch of people talk gave me a bit of a headache, it's I think important to break outside of your own bubble and go and listen to people who say things that you absolutely do not agree with. And so today we're going to be talking about conservatives in art and
where are they? Because it does seem like they're missing. If you talk about artists, very rarely will you find one that is conservative leaning. Now, full disclosure, right from the get-go, I am not conservative leaning really about anything. So these are definitely people who have difference of opinions with me. I've turned it up as much as I can. I can turn it up a bit more. I was just thinking that myself. I'm currently at 6 decibels. Let's crank it to 11. I suppose I should take a second to really quickly talk about this painting. This is one of the few times in just ever, really, that I didn't have a step where I was like, man, I hate this. Like, I was like, man, this is a
I'm gonna go
banger
check on my
painting.
rhino real
From
quick.
like start to end, I was very happy with the way that the art was looking. I was like, yes, this is so good. I'm loving how this is going. I'm loving where this is going, and what I saw in my mind's eye of how I wanted this to turn out is more or less actually how it turned out, and I'm just really happy that it turned out that way. So there's a few reasons, I think, that there are not more conservatives in art. That, generally speaking, when you think artist, you think of a left-leaning person rather than someone who has very conservative beliefs. And I think part of that is because of where the funding comes from for these museums, for these places, are generally not being funded by right-leaning people. They would prefer to put that into other ventures. They would prefer to put that into maybe campaigning.
It's nice and dry
like
now.
that. They don't really, despite how much they talk about the importance of preserving culture, really put much effort at all in monetarily doing that, to be able to have museums that represent the kind of stuff that they enjoy, and especially art that is new that meets that criteria. And as a result, the people funding it are more likely to have their own biases and not want to promote stuff that is against their own opinions. And so if there were to be a conservative artist, if his stuff is very explicitly anti, left-leaning stuff, he's probably not going to get the gig. And this therefore leads into the next point that I've heard several people say, but they don't really have evidence on this because I don't know how you would. An opinion of a lot of conservative think tank people is that there are actually conservatives, but they just don't, or conservative artists, but they just don't talk about the fact that they are. I personally believe that it is very difficult to separate yourself from your art.
I'm gonna
that
go
the
get
art
some water
you
to
make
paint
is,
with.
generally speaking, a manifestation of your own beliefs and your work ethic. So if you are a person who believes in XYZ thing, you're going to have that appear either in a positive light or just appear in general as opposed to not. You're going to be talking about, when you're an artist, probably the things that are important to your life. And so if there are more conservative artists than we know of, they would just basically being dishonest with the art that they're putting out, and so it'd be impossible to know that they exist in the first place. So functionally speaking, they may be a conservative person, but they masquerade as a more liberal, left-leaning person because they don't want to actually lose their job. So essentially, if they do exist, they are being disingenuous with their self and with the viewer, because they would prefer not to break boundaries or really stand up for their beliefs in that way, because they're scared of being blacklisted, they're scared of backlash, etc., etc. Continuing on from that thought process, if you're a conservative style person, if you're someone who believes in those things, you're more likely to mythologize and really be into the art of previous years. You're going to be very much into Bernini, and you're going to be into these very classically trained styles that were innovative at the time, that were very progressive at the time, that were very holy crap, this is a new thing. But nowadays we've seen that it's been done. And so the art world also, and amongst most other things, prefer to see innovation over stagnation.
And so a lot of conservative artists do tend to just sort of stagnate in a mythologicalized past of there being these forms that they would like to recreate, and we've already seen that.
Trees, nature, Jesus, Roman statues, without the context of what those statues mean.
I don't want to see that again. And so they don't generally get the attention that something that's really new and out there is going to get. Another point, I think, of interest is that conservative art, when it does exist, tends to be very blunt. That the thing that you're supposed to understand about the work is very straightforward. It'll be a heroic pose of someone with a cape that is the American flag, and then they'll be like hugging Trump or something. I don't know, but whatever. Like, and so it's like, this is exactly what I want you to believe. And so if you believe that too, then you will, agree with it, you'll accept it, yada yada. That provides very little room for the viewer to be part of the experience of there being art, because it's just like you are being told directly what you are to believe. This is sort of, there are a lot of jokes, I think, that pundits make, both left and right, that just own the libs kind of thing, where it's just like, yeah, I mean, there you go. Or there'll be, a left-leaning person making fun of Trump, and it'll be very surface level. It'll be very much just like, he's got a really bad tan job going, and it's just like, okay, well, sure, but like, what else are we going to talk about there? Like, it doesn't really track as humor, because like, there's not enough there. It's just, it's funny if you agree with them, but it's not funny and it's not interesting if you don't agree with them. So in conclusion, you essentially have a group of people who want to continue doing the thing that's already been done, that want to push very few new boundaries. They reject new modern ways of doing art, and do not have the funding from people who say they support culture and want culture to survive, but then don't fund it. And when the art is made, it generally is just, if you agree with this is great. Otherwise, it's, just a painting, and the technical skill is really the only thing you have to look at, and it's just fine. It's not really interesting to look at because the staging is whatever. These are things that they could change, but as nature of being a conservative, change is not something that they would prefer. They would prefer to keep things the way they are. And so I feel like that there will pretty much never be a very strong conservative art movement, just because literally who wants that? It seems like no one. It seems like no one wants that, and so it's just not made. Now, there are examples of conservative art movements that have existed throughout time, but generally speaking, they have very strong government support, and you could more closely
Fascism.
link that to probably fascism than conservatism.
Okay, I did actually
You have
say
the
it.
same sort of thing, for example, with Stalin and Lenin, where there's a lot of art of them, but it's probably because they want to have a more nationalist approach to things, despite the fact that they would not be traditionally considered conservative in any way, shape, or form. You have examples of, we're going to go with German artists during the Second World War, who did do art for the government of Germany at the time, and it is generally only there because
That's me trying not to get bonked by YouTube. I'm trying to make it so that way this channel specifically does not get bonked.
they were sponsored to do that work, and any other work was considered just awful, and they would throw it in the bin. So the only art that would survive in Germany at the time was stuff that was praising the government in one way, shape, or form. Now, here I've essentially, as best as I could, reflect the arguments of conservatives who wish there was more art. And instead of doing art, they generally speaking just talk about why isn't there more. And this is, you know, hours and hours of research just to try and come to the conclusion that basically no one wants it and no one wants to fund it. I was able to find 2 artists who are self-admitted conservatives who do art. The first is a sculptor here on YouTube whose name I will not mention because I don't want people to go and attack them. They have less viewers than me, so it just feels like I'd be using my position to bully them. They do very traditionally, you know, stuff that looks like Greek statues. Sort of thing, or they just sort of
I've totally forgotten who this is, by the way.
Kind of going back to that point I made. And the other one is probably the only successful conservative artist that I've seen, like, in my lifetime, who's called Arthur Kwon Lee, Kwon for the middle name there. You can go to his website, arthurkwonlee.com.
I knew it when I made
this
video.
He has a very famous piece about a warrior Jesus to basically argue that Christianity should stop being so
peaceful,
accepting, and actually be more aggressive. I listened to him speak some, and I personally find him to be an idiot. But in the very least, I think you can say that there is some newness. The art appears to be fresh. I'll show you some. But you'll notice that a lot of it is just, what if I did a collage of all of these different famous pieces of art, you know, praising an older style rather than trying to innovate and move beyond what has already been seen a billion times before.
Unfortunate timing on what? Him doing the art? The more aggression with religion? I mean, if you're expecting that kind of rhetoric to do anything other than Crusades to Electric Boogaloo, yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page with what you were saying. Current events. I agree with that take. I just want to make sure that I was, yeah. I just want to be clear about what was being said. No, I agree. Yeah. But, yeah, that's why you don't have stupid takes.
And, yeah, it's all right. So there you go. I found one for you. There he is. I'll probably put up a picture of his. He says some really out there stuff that I don't agree with, but if you were looking for where are all these conservative artists, why are all the artists that have any success lefties, it's because conservatives just don't want to make art, and if they did, no one wants to view it. So, or it's just so bland and has already been done, and it doesn't break.
Yeah, we're not talking about that right now.
Right, yeah, no, I've seen that.
We're not talking about current events during this stream. Like
David, you know, I've seen the Mona Lisa. I've seen these works before. You don't have to do them again. I've
just hear about it constantly.
And so there's
we're not
really
going
nothing
there.
interesting to say about them. Anyway, I want to go ahead and thank the people who made this video possible, the people on Patreon who.
But that's the
support
video
me.
anyway that people are saying to me when I you know. So that's the video that those responses were in relation to. Probably should have played that first before reading their comments, but yeah. It is funny to hear people say stuff like that. Not the weirdest comments I've had on YouTube. The weirdest one was a guy that I responded to a couple of times, and he was just a straight up like white nationalist, and I'm like, why the fuck are you watching me? Like,
That's something that I'll never understand is like very clear about my racism bad take where I don't think that's it is controversial nowadays. But anyway, this guy's dry. He's a little stinky, but you can paint him. But yeah, no, everything I see is about current topic and current topic spicy, you know, and I want to walk away from it for a bit. We have that luxury, and I think I'm going to choose to have that luxury. Is it coward shit? Probably. A lot of streamers are real scared to talk about politics. I'm not that. For the sake of my friends, I won't bring it up as often during streams with them. But I have looked at some like political YouTubers and streamers to see like what are they doing? And does anyone here watch any of that? I used to go out and do a lot of like Abby Thorne's busy on hot girl shit. There's a new video coming out today, I think. Philosophy tube, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I totally forgot after not being active in political communities for a while how much just stupid drama there is. Like, so much of the time it's just people fighting each other, and it's like, bro, like, do you want to make the world a better place or what? This is Dimios pattern Rhino. Like, can we stop fighting about whatever the fuck you guys are fighting about and actually like maybe change the world for a better place? Let's be a little bit more pragmatic. I didn't really specify. I just said conservatives. Um, Generally speaking, artists are very like open about their opinions, and I just find it bizarre that there's not very many conservatives that are. But yeah, I popped into a couple like videos and streams and stuff of like like political commentator kind of stuff. And they're just fighting each other. I really kind of wish it weren't that, you know? Like, could we maybe talk about like policy change, revolutionary changes. I don't know, fixing the world, making it a better place. I'm not saying we got to change it all right now. I'm just saying, hey, maybe we do anything about anything. They mostly do that when there's nothing else to talk about. And mostly it was me trying to identify what the format is rather than actually trying to be like that myself. I do have a carrying case for my minis, yeah. Oh, it's just a carrying bag. It's nothing real exciting. We're gonna have to go over this all with a second coat because it's a little splotchy right now. But it'll happen. You've not missed any kitty sightings, no. I think the kitties are in the bedroom, sleeping. I like to cuddle. I have little cuddle puddles. I probably got some red paint on my thumb. Yeah, that's paint. Don't worry. I think there's an audience for conservative art, but I think that most people wouldn't buy it. If that makes sense. Like, there are clearly people who believe in conservative stuff. Less than half the nation voted for, conservative president for the past, like, however many elections. So, like, there's clearly more than an insignificant amount. Yeah, they don't really do stuff out in the open about their beliefs as far as that goes. Audio cut off? I'm sorry. Also, I need to turn off the I have a filter. I need to crank this back down to 6, else it's gonna blow y'all's ears out when we play anything else. Then bring that down there. Okay, good. And that's where the real dishonesty thing comes out, is like they don't want to go out there and say that they're conservative because that will tank their career. Which is, I guess, sad, but also like have good opinions, support the arts. Like, if there are no conservative galleries to go to, no one's going to be able to find conservative art out in galleries. you know? So this first step, I'm just doing like huge like brush strokes over the whole thing just to get paint on. Because I generally want it to be red, you know? I've not listened to the Behind the Bastards on Scott Adams, no. It's a good show, but it can be kind of depressing at times. Yeah, Scott Adams is not having a great time mentally right now. And someone should look after him. Not me, I don't care. But like, you know, someone else, right? Someone who gives a shit about his health should go and talk to him and make sure that he's doing okay. Cause you're saying I'm not feeling suicidal, so don't believe it when they say I killed myself. It's the CIA or whatever, and I'm like, bro, you made Dilbert, okay? No one cares. No one's coming for you. This makes me think this is going to be a Lightning McQueen tank. Tilda did request that I put googly eyes on it. I could magnetize some. Ka-chow. Trying not to hit other areas like the exhaust pipes and the treads and stuff like that. But we're gonna clean that up later anyway, so it's kind of okay if I do. Like, what revolutionary stuff has Dilbert said that puts him like in the government's eyes where, oh yeah, no, I follow a few punk subreddits and like people going, it's not punk to be left anymore. The real punk thing is being a right wing guy who supports Trump. And it's like, bruh, what do you think being punk is about? Get the fuck out of here. Respecting people is bad. I'm not gonna respect people. That makes me so punk. Bruh.
Also, the depth of their political stuff is like pretty shallow. But I mean, most Americans have a fairly shallow like political view. It usually is just like, I like Democrats, I like Republicans, and that's about it. It's like sports teams. Yeah, I did see the insensitive tweet about his stepson dying to drug abuse, and he was like, it's the system's fault rather than mine. He's just kind of a shit person. I missed a spot in the back. Yeah, just in general, I need to go over this thing several times. And I'm not sure what I do with the door. I think it has to be red too, really. And there's nothing wrong with being like, you know, not in the political know on everything. There's a lot of shit going on in the world. I get it. This is word bearers. Though I am using corn red because for some reason that's a thing. Yeah, Dilbert has just gone absolutely fucking insane at this point. He's like not doing okay anymore. If he ever was. I don't know. I was never a huge Dilbert guy because I didn't work in an office ever. So, you know, there's that. I think the inside of the cab can be black. That's fine. Have you seen the trans girl Dilbert someone made when he started being a shit ass? No. I don't really know how you make a rhino like more word bearers like probably like sigils and stuff. This is a yeah, this is a 40k armored personnel carrier sort of thing. Scriptures and books? Yeah, that sounds right. Word bearers are very religious about serving Satan. Space Satan. They have the guy on who's ruining Popeye as a guest. Amazing. Popeye definitely has that, like, a little confused, but he's got the spirit. I'm kind of chill just doing this. Orthogonal, but thank you. Popeye has been very based recently. You remind me of Butch Hartman now? Like that the guy exists or what? Or like that I am him because that's like a insult. I thought you were an orc fan. Yeah, but I also play CSM. I don't think that's what green kakapo means.
The other chat's comment. I see. Yeah, this will be a CSM build. However, I'm going to make an attachment for it so that way it can be an orc truck as well. Because Death Skull's orcs, my specific sub-faction of orcs, love stealing shit. So if I just put a couple of like magnetized panels on top of it, then now it's an orc truck instead of a rhino. Functionally the same kind of idea of a model. Like it's a transport that doesn't do much else, which kind of makes it really valuable. Death Skulls are just orc blood ravens. I love that joke because that's such a deep cut that no one's gonna get that shit. But yes, they're tech nerds. It's where all the mechs come from. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. I think I've added too much water. Straight from the pot for a second. Nah, it needs a little bit. That's too much. Yeah, that's too much water. Also, this is the undercarriage. I don't know who the fuck is going to care about this, but I do. So I'm going to paint it. And I'm probably going to add a whole bunch of dirt and dust and crap like that to the bottom as well. So it was between a rhino and a land raider for me on which one to get. And the land raider just, I figure, is not going to be as evergreen as a model. Like, land raiders are fucking banger right now. But I know that rhinos are always going to be somewhat valuable. So, like, in 11th edition, which is going to be like 5 years from now or 3 years from now or whatever it's going to be, I have a feeling that rhinos will still be good. So the work that I'm doing now is going to be good then. Yeah, Land Raider is like, what if this but bigger and had more guns on it? So it's like, what, almost 3 times the cost points wise, about double the cost money wise. That's another determining factor for me. And sometimes that fire base is kind of useless, you know?
And I have a feeling that CSM is going to get some sort of big fuck off weapon option. Because they said every army is getting a new kit this edition. And I bet you that's what it is. It's going to be some demon engine that's going to be fucking incredible at killing stuff. And maybe drop pods. That may just be wishful thinking. Vortex Beasts already do that? That's exclusively for Thousand Suns, though, right? Like, what's the anti-tank option for CSM? You know? Land Raiders, Obliterators, Havocs. Yeah, you can't bring Vortex Beast for any other sub-faction of Chaos. For someone who hasn't gotten into 40k tabletop yet, but has been considering giving it a go, is can I just glue random shit on to save money? And a scuff paint job kind of works. I feel like a scuff paint job looks worse with orcs. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it like some guys who don't particularly care about the quality of the paint job, just getting paint on there for the like spiritual effect of red goes fast, or what have you. But that's a very specific aesthetic. And your brush size is going to be different than their brush size. If you want to play it, again, Tabletop Sim is the best way to play this game to see whether or not you hate it or not. If you just want a hobby on minis, do that. Fuck it. Like, a lot of people have, like, multiple armies that they just don't even know how to play the game. They don't care about playing the game ever. They just like the lore, they like the models, and they want to paint stuff. Totally valid way to enjoy the hobby. It's your fun money that you can spend however you want to do. Dawn of War 2 really put me off the formula. I always think that Dawn of War 2 is Soul Shatter, and I loved Soul Shatter, or whatever that was called. But it's not. It's the one where you just have, like, a guy that you're commanding. And I'm very confused by it. Soulstorm, that's it. Not Soul Shatter. It's been a minute. Kill Team is more or less going to be fairly similar to Big Hammer. So, yeah. If you didn't enjoy Kill Team, it's that with more models, and it's not alternating activations. Someone gets their whole turn, then the other person gets another whole turn. So if you didn't like Kill Team, it's you're probably right to not. I just like having some guns and lasers and shit, you know? I actually think that should be steel, not red. So I'm going to stop painting that red. We'll paint over it in black in a bit. There's a D&D style game set in the 40k universe. Yeah, I believe it's called Inquisitor? And it's going to be, I hope they release a new edition of it right around when the Henry Cavill series comes out. Because that's going to be great for people. Because they're
doing it based on a series of stories by Dan Abnett, who did the story for that League of Legends show that came out. And it's about an Inquisitor. Yeah, Arcane was written by Dan Abnett, who wrote a whole bunch of Warhammer stuff. So if you like the writing in Arcane, and yeah, Henry Cavill is not only going to be acting in it, but he also is like very into Warhammer. He plays Custodes because he's a nerd. Oh, we sit around all day protecting the Emperor. Nothing bad will ever happen except for the several times that it did. Every time our defense has been tested, we failed. We're so cool and awesome. Fuck Custodes. But understand I'm saying that as a not fuck Henry Cavill really thing. I just think it's funny. I shouldn't have put these pipes on. I always glue more than I should, and then I have to deal with like weird painting issues like getting around smokestacks and crap. But yeah, because that series is going to be based around an Inquisitor, it's going to be a prime time for them to come out with another edition of the 40k D&D thing. Rev, but gun spears. I know gun spears are cool, don't get me wrong. And I kind of low-key wanted to start a Custodes army. But then I realized I already have 2 and I only get to play 1 a week. So, maybe don't do that? We need more weeks per week. Reminds me of that guy who's like, yeah, I get more days per day. Because I redefined the day. My days are 5 hours long. I get about 5 days for every one of yours. And that's how I get more done. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? Have you seen that guy? I have no idea who the fuck this guy is, but he's a fucking idiot. This is probably going to take 2 or maybe even 3 thin coats, because this second coat is not getting all of it. Do we hate Eldar? I mean, if they just give up all their soul stones to Slaanesh, I'd be cool with them. I'm just like really confused. They fucked around, they found out, and now they're like, oh, I don't want that. And it's like, bruh, you're the one who fucked around and found out. Why do you expect this? They have revealed the Mario. What? What? Whenever I say anything rude about any other like faction in Warhammer, understand it's to pick fights with people so that way they play me. I don't actually hate you. That being said, fuck Eldar. Fight me, bitch.
Like, what do you mean the new Mario? It's like color card or color scan. Yeah. Well, the Tau aren't good guys just in general. Like, there are no good guys. They mind control people. That's pretty not good guy energy. I'm saying that as someone who's painting a fucking word bear's like rhino. Like, it's a little pot calling the kettle black here, you know? But like, you know, I think that needs to dry for a second. But they are weebs. Dwarfs are cool. I don't really like their aesthetic. The new squats. They kind of have like a retro futurism 90s Lego space playset kind of vibe. Definitely not enough water on this one. There we go. That's a little better. Oh yeah, squats are back. They're a full faction. They're called Leagues of Votan now, but they're squats. Their gameplay is generally based around grudges. Which is like anytime anyone does something in your opponent's army, mostly killing, holding objectives, scoring points, right? That gets them a grudge token, and grudge tokens help your army do better. So you want to shoot targets that like you have grudge tokens against. They're kind of like Space Marines, but slower and tougher. Except for right now, they're not very good. Last edition, they were broken as shit. You used to have a gun that could shoot through anything. It did friendly fire, which was hilarious. But it was just sort of like, if that thing gets to see you, you're fucked. Now it just sort of sits there and dies. But overall, the game is way more balanced than it used to be. Old school Tau were kind of benevolent. They were always kind of mind controlly. It just wasn't brought up as much. I kind of prefer. Oh, hey, Natalie, how you doing? We're painting a Warhammer. What's really funny about them is they don't actually do that tabletop wise. They just have aliens kind of. I'm in training. It's all good. I'm all right. It's just boring. Yeah. Training be like that. In this video, we're going to be going over our mission statement. Here at Company, we treat you as family. Help us move our couch. Do work without requesting pay. Tau have done some extraordinarily stupid shit. Tau is just guns, 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 guns. There's almost no melee in Tau. You will be a shooting faction, and that's about it. Which, depending on the meta, is either very good or very bad. I was hoping Tau would be like Minotaurs and Labyrinths. No, they made the Tau directly because Gundam was doing really good, and they were losing out on market share for people buying Gundam models instead of Warhammer models. So they're like, we can have that. We can have anime mecha too. That's literally why Tau exists. Is that for real? That is 100% real. So all their stuff is like anime mecha. But they do try and like do peaceful, like, you know, communication with alien factions. Hilariously, they did that twice with Tyranids. Which would be like trying to have a conversation with a roach. An oversized roach that's trying to eat you. I just found out that GW is British. That's so fucked up. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Your fave is problematic. GW is British. They're a new race, and they're trying very hard to, like, you know, not have problems. Like, they try and talk things out. But the Imperium, generally speaking, has a no aliens policy. No aliens, no demons, no mutants. Anyone who doesn't look exactly like me dies. We're the good guys. And no AI. Yeah, no AI. They did that once. It was a real bad situation. So now they just use, like, discarded human husks, dead people, corpses, lobotomized humans as computers. Because Grimdark. So negotiations with the Tau generally don't go well. Because they're like, no, lol. The Tau are still not super aware of what's going on in the universe around them. They still think that demons are just a weird alien. And they're like, man, these guys kind of suck. They're super hostile and they keep trying to murder us. We're just trying to have a conversation. Every time we talk to these guys, the ones you call bloodletters and bloodthirsters, they keep murdering us. I don't know what's their fucking problem. These aliens suck. They're the squares of the universe. They try and do things peacefully for a bit. Then comes the violence. I mean, they still believe in their own racial superiority over other races, so there's that. They're very naive. They're not dumb. They're just doing some really silly stuff. They're very naive. God, we're gonna have to do so many coats.
But yeah. I think we might stop here in a second, because this is, they sent a diplomatic party to the Dark Eldar, and that went about as well as expected. Yeah, the guys that torture people for fun. Psychers just don't exist amongst the Tau, yeah. Though they do have giant space bears, right? Don't they have, like, space polar bears that are psychic or something? There's no model for this. I know nothing about that lore. I just was told it once when there was a narrative series called The Psychic Awakening, where everyone is supposed to get some sort of little buff that involved psychers, and so everyone was really excited for the Tau, because it's like, what the fuck do they even get? The answer is not anything. At least the Tau aren't racist, like, bruh. They are. The Ethereals are hyper racist. What? Yeah, orcs, they think green is best, but also they'll respect you if you actually, like, put up a good fight. So, like, famously, Gaz captured Commissar Yarrick. Just a regular fucking dude, right? Just a human who was in the Imperial Guard trying to kill them, right? And he was like, this guy's fucking awesome, man. Dude, have you guys seen this guy? He killed like 50 fucking orcs. This guy is fucking baller. We're gonna let you go, but I'm gonna let you know I'm coming back and I'm gonna kick your ass again. So you better be ready for that. You better be ready for a cool fight. And then they just sort of drop him off. And true to their word, they came back. And they fought again. Orcs are bioweapons that got out of control, is their lore. At the beginning of time, there was a couple of gods that wanted to have a fight, and one of them genetically created orcs to be like the super fighting warrior faction. So they just don't have, like, they're only really good in groups, which was an intentional choice by that elder god to, like, bring him down a peg so that way he could get rid of them after the war. But both the gods ended up getting fucked over real hard, and so no one turned off the bioweapon, and now orcs are just everywhere. HeroClix is still a thing. Yeah, it gets regular new editions. Every now and then I see someone playing it, but it's not my thing. It's made by the same people who did Mage Knight. Same creative team. They stopped doing Mage Knight so they could work on that instead. Thought Yu-Gi-Oh bought HeroClix? They might have. Hasbro? I know originally it was WizKids. But they may have, like, dropped that IP and given it to someone else. I mean, yeah, a lot of Warhammer stuff is stolen from something else. You know, there's the Arbites, which are like Judge Dredd, and you can play them in Necromunda. You can be the cops, which is such like fuck you. I think I just want to learn how to paint miniatures and get paid for it. Yeah, there are commissioned painters. They exist. There are people whose job it is just to paint miniatures. So like someone would go, I need a full 2,000 points. Here's the list that I need. I'll send you the models. You just got to paint it all for me. Put it together and paint it for me. I have a tournament in a week. Yeah, there is a specific his name is Sly Marbo, and he's literally just Rambo. And he loves killing orcs. So he like crawls around in the jungles and kills orcs. He's literally just. Are Eldars cops? No, they're space elves. They're like elves in everything you've ever seen. Like they just kind of they're hoity-toity little assholes at times. Duplicitous. So literally Sylvester Rambo, but they short. Yeah, I bet you that's exactly how they came up with the name. Yeah, Sylvester Rambo or Sly Marbo. I bet you that's it. Dwarves are still in. Yeah, they're called the Leagues of Votan now. And they exist. Half of the Leagues of Votan stuff is dwarves. The other half is like robots. They don't have a problem with AI. They just treat them like another dwarf. And so if you kill one, they get real fucking mad about it. That's grudging. The dwarves play like aggressive Santa. They're making a list, checking it twice. They know who's been naughty, and it's not going to be nice. Let me finish doing this, then I'll show you exactly why I called them Santa. Because there's a model that's just like a generic captain or whatever that is straight up Santa. This game just sounds like the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny. Yeah, it's like that, but only 80s references. Because you got your Slime Marbos and your Necrons that are just Terminators from like T1000s or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think 40k rules. And get the last little paint off my palette here. And then I'll probably switch. Slime Marbo is definitely one of those very silly ones that they did. It's very much like Angron, the leader of the Angry Guys, and Ferrus Manus, the leader of the Iron Hands energy, where it's just like, that's a stupid as shit name. I don't think I've seen a single Treehouse of Horror episode. Angron is literally that meme of like, local man too fucking angry to be killed. Like, he has a rule that if he dies, there's a way of bringing him back. Just as long as there's been enough violence. Krieg is more based around like French armor, but I'm not totally sure about that. But there is a little bit of World War I Germany in there too. They almost fell to chaos and they're very sorry about it. And so they believe that their lives are less useful. Yeah, Corvus Corax, the leader of the what are they called? Fucking Raven Guard. Death Guard of Krieg, or the yeah, it is the Death Guard of Krieg, right? They have really cool armor. They're some of like the Imperium's most fanatical, crazy people. Death Core. It is Death Core. Sorry, I need more caffeine, man. It is Death Core of Krieg. If Warhammer is taking a lot from the Cimmerillion, then I may look into it. Specifically, the stuff with the elves is literally just like the fall of like elves. That literally they did the thing that they do in Lord of the Rings with elves, and but instead they accidentally like got so high and mighty on themselves that they accidentally fucked a god into existence, and that god is like super fucked up. And so now, like, some of them are like, lol, that was funny. Some of them were like, yeah, but the good parties aren't over, right? And then there's more that are like, guys, seriously, this is bad. Like, we could all die any day now if it figures out where we are. And then the Dark Eldar are like, yeah, but I still want to do drugs. So, like, that is almost, like, exactly Lord of the Rings. Okay. I think that I'm out of paint for now. Yeah, Krieger are so fanatic about giving themselves to the Emperor and atoning for their past that all other Astra Militarum, like all other Imperial Guard, just find them kind of depressing to be around. Yes, they are more than willing to like throw themselves into the meat grinder. That god isn't Sauron. No, that god is Slanesh, the god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Is the way I like to put it, because that's pretty close. But I was supposed to show you guys Santa. Let me bring you around. Whoop. Um, Grimnir. That's the guy. Also known as Santa and Two Robots. This is leader guy for. Oh, I didn't see that. That's really cool with the rocks. He's like using the rocks to fly. That's a really cool model. I love that. I love this foot just flying. That's really cool. And then he has two little robot friends. I don't know if I care for that one. I guess that's if you want them to be a girl, but also you could have them be Santa. Beep boop, Santa. All right, well, do we want to try out Foundry now? I have played that game. I got a sponsorship deal with them once. But yeah, I mean, if you like Deep Rock Galactic, that's Leagues of Votann. Like Rock and Stone, man, Rock and Stone. All right. Mind giving me like a 1 minute break to get set up? Foundry demo. All right, yeah, give me 1 minute to go to the bathroom and stuff, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna play this Foundry game. BRB, 1 minute.